Lands and waters may you cross, see mountains white and blue, but on your road let's not forget the love I have for you.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Shadow of Mordor video walkthrough. This is the main mission, the Warchief, and this is introducing us to the concept of usurping the hierarchy of Sauron's army. And it begins quite humbly on this combat platform where we have to execute a couple of these berserkers. So the berserker is the counterattack enemy. He is the equivalent of the armoured enemy in Arkham games, where you have to do the stun move before you can effectively attack him. And there's an ability on this game where when you jump over enemies, it puts them into a stunned state. And I don't use it in this walkthrough because I'm not doing enough missions outside of the main ones to get enough upgrades to get it for the most, and I was too focused on other things to choose it. But I'm going to say here, just through retrospective playing a lot more of the game, it is one of the best abilities on the game. It is incredibly powerful because it leads to flurry attacks, and even if an enemy is immune to the combat executions, the combat master perk that they can have, you can still store up kills to use on other people, and combo is always useful depending on the runes you have equipped and depending on the situation you're in, because it enables you to do many things. So I cannot overstate the importance of finding abilities that suit your playstyle that you like. Right here also I'm showcasing the attract mechanic, where when you get a ghostly aura and silhouettes the person that you're looking at, if you press Y you can attract them and they'll come towards you and you can stealth kill them. And now that he's close enough, for some reason it didn't give me the option to kill him, so I just kind of mashed the button and it allowed me to moments later. So once he's down, if you come up here, you run forward towards this area. I take that guy down just in case to thin the herd. And Mog, the other twin, has turned up. So he's going to be the guy that we're looking for. And he's coming with probably a couple of captains. I would say he'll have 2 captains, because they generally always do. And the captains are going to, of course, be named orcs who will intervene and have abilities of their own, which can make it a little bit more difficult to kill this guy than sometimes it can be. So the first thing I do is I shoot the meat to draw the Caragors in. That's merely to give us a distraction, because at this point in the game it can be really difficult to isolate the orcs you want. The game uses this system where it populates the fights with more orcs to give it a super hectic battlefield almost feeling, but it can get really chaotic and really frustrating, as controlling where your attacks go is nowhere near as effective as it is in Batman, and thus attacks are going to go in the wrong place quite a lot. And some of it can be player error, a lot of it can be game error, and it's really frustrating when you've played a system that handles it slightly better. So while the Caragor's going to work, I come up here, and then the Caragor wants a piece of me, which is not so good. I must taste sweeter than the orcs, I don't know, but it's bad news, so I need to get out of here because the Caragor's hurt. And it's giving me a tutorial on how to dodge them while it's eating my face. But I drop down here, try and get some distance from it to see if it's going to continue to chase me. And then I test this guy, see if he has anything stopping me from shooting him with the bow. Turns out he is not invulnerable to range, so we can put some quick damage on him from a distance. If we had the ability to do the teleport attacks, we could also do those, but we don't. So I do the stun attack into a flurry, and it allows me to finish it, which tells me that he's not invulnerable to executions. And there's a really fun loop you can do on the orcs. Do a full flurry, the flurry will stun them every time, go into a hold right trigger and execute to do a quick stab. As soon as the stab of the downward attack lands, cancel it with an execution. You'll go immediately into an execution, they'll stop it because they probably have more life, and then you can do a second execution if you have it queued up, if you have the ability, and then just go back into a flurry attack and rinse and repeat. It is some of the quickest way to build damage I've come across. Of course, if you can't do the combat execution, you might have to alternate a little bit with firing arrows and getting creative, like throwing them into fires or throwing them off edges. It all depends on what they're vulnerable to. That right there is also a very important aspect of this game too. Whenever you're in danger, if you don't have any runes that bring your life back for doing specific activities, just run away. Find a herb. Herbs will heal you. It doesn't really matter. The guy you were beating up might get some life back, but chances are you weren't doing too good in the first place. You know, discretion is the better part of valor, and sometimes getting the hell out of dodge is just the best way to do it. But this is where things get a little bit more complicated. Just because it's difficult to attack the one you want to attack while remaining safe. And on Batman, this should be easy, but it's stuff like when you try and run over people and he runs over a different one. Or when you try and do a specific attack and you end up attacking a captain who has an immunity to it and it breaks your combo. Or the ever popular one where it says press Y and you press it and you don't get the combo, or the counter, sorry. Or the ones where you press attack and your guy stands there and you're kind of like, what the fuck is happening? And it's just little bits of polish that's missing on an otherwise very fun combat system. But I'm just building my abilities here, thinning the herd, trying to get back to him to deal some damage. In a perfect world, I would just be able to beat him up while the other dudes kind of look around like idiots, but every so often you do get clipped, so you have to be careful. But continue to execute them. If you research this guy by killing a captain, you can probably find out if he has a weakness, or you can even Google him if you're super interested. But I did mention earlier in the guide, I was trying not to do that too much as I know it would make for some really awesome strategies. It's very simple to look up if he's scared of anything and exploit it, because it's kind of too powerful if they have a fear. Because as soon as whatever it does that they're afraid of happens, you can immediately grab them, and often they will flee, so you can chase them down and you won't have any of the other orcs with you because they've already run away. So it makes a lot of this seem a little bit pedantic as I hack and hack and hack. Yeah, look at them. There doesn't seem to be any less than there were when I started. And every so often you just get to the point where you're like, I'm going to start beating up the main guy now because this is taking the piss. So I get back on this dude, get him with some flurry attacks, but I get hit before I get to execute him. He's very low on life though. The shield guys can be very dangerous with that poke. Build up the flurry. I tried to counter, but I got hit. That sucked. Got hit again, getting low life once again. Probably going to focus on the main chief here, because this is getting a little bit too much. And that knocks him over. And that finishes him off. And there you go, the first of the people we're hunting. So that's the first Warchief. From this point onwards, we're going to need to kill 4 of them. So you're going to see me kill more in the future. And then in the second area, we're going to have to brand 5 of them. And I'm not going to show you me doing all the captains that I'm going to send after the Warchief so that can start riots and things. I am going to show you the missions where it takes place. A lot of this game is going to be completely preferential on how you choose to play. If you want to use the Sauron's army system and the Nemesis system to your advantage, you can speed a lot of things up. If you don't, you can just go head on yourself. It's entirely up to you, but of course, that'll differ to my strategies. So thank you very much for watching, and you take care now.